What's up guys, my name is Ace, and they nerfed it. The Terminator T800 skin in Black Ops 6 has finally caught a nerf. This one has had some pretty significant gameplay advantages for a while now. I made a video talking about this and showing off exactly what the problems were with this skin, and I just wanted to quickly recap that before we get into the before and after comparison to see how much it actually changed. Now from that initial video, the T800 skin has several advantages over any of the other character models in the game. The first advantage is the character model itself is noticeably smaller and skinnier than any other character model, so that's going to make it a little bit harder to spot and track, although it is worth noting we also showed that the hitboxes are exactly the same with this operator, and that means you can actually get hits on this target by shooting a little bit off of the character model since the hitboxes extend beyond the character model itself. But that doesn't mean that there's no gameplay advantage here because, like I said, it's harder to spot and track enemies if there are fewer pixels that you can see, and that's exactly what happens with the Terminator skin. Now on top of that, and arguably the most important part of this, is the fact that before this update, there was no apparent illumination on the character model, unlike all of the other character models in the game. And what I mean by that is taking a look at it right here, you can see just how dark that Terminator skin is, and it blends in with the background super well, whereas when you look at literally any other character skin in the game, even some of the darker themed ones, they actually have a little bit of a glow to them that makes them pop from the background. And this was honestly my biggest complaint with the Terminator skin. Not my only complaint, but my biggest by far. And in that video, that's essentially what I said. The bare minimum that they should be doing with this skin is adding that illumination to the character model. And it turns out that's exactly what they've done here with this update. So as far as I can tell, at least, the character model itself is exactly the same pre-patch versus post-patch. But now we've got that illumination, which is going to make them pop more from the background, at least in certain scenarios. So in this same example here, you can see that character model is now glowing quite a bit. They're bright. They actually stand out from the background, although he was a little bit behind the window frame in that case. But that is a very clear difference compared to pre-patch. And we can also see it when we get up close to the target as well. They are going to be much brighter, way more contrast here. They're not going to be blending in with the background nearly as much as they did before the update. So at least on my end, based on my testing, things are looking good here. This is essentially exactly what I wanted to see them do, and this should absolutely make it easier to spot these T800 skins. However, I did want to point out, I noticed on Twitter, Hunter TV posted a few images as well of apparent before and after shots, and looking at his images on this area on Vorkuta, it looks like there was essentially no change whatsoever. So this may depend on the lighting situation, or maybe Hunter was trolling here. I don't believe that's the case, but I did want to point out that some people are getting different results, and I think it just depends on the lighting situation that you're in. And if this is actually a proper before and after shot and he didn't like take the screenshot slightly before the update actually went live, like maybe they posted they were changing it before the update actually changed it, and that's why we're not seeing any difference here. I'm not too sure why he got such different results compared to me, but looking at my own results at least, as well as a little bit of gameplay time where I have run into a couple Terminators so far after this update, it is definitely much easier to spot these now than it was pre-patch. Now, with that in mind, that doesn't mean that the Terminator skin has no advantages anymore, though. I would still say there is a clear advantage of having simply fewer pixels displayed because you have a skinnier character model. And again, while the hitboxes are the same size, that doesn't mean there isn't a visual advantage there to using the T800 skin. So even after this update, is it still a pay-to-win skin? I think arguably yes. You are still getting some gameplay advantages that you can't get with any other skin in the game, but those advantages have been toned down quite a bit, at least with this update. Again, based on my testing in the lighting environment where I was doing the testing, and unfortunately this is the only pre versus post patch area that I have, simply because I don't own this skin for myself, so I'm pretty limited when it comes to my testing. But I did ensure with both pre-patch and post-patch I picked a fairly dark environment, and I kept things as consistent as possible, and I am seeing some very clear differences pre-patch versus post-patch. So I'm really happy to see that they have made these changes. However, perhaps it's not enough. I know one big thing that a lot of people have been asking for, and I'm on board with this, and I think it would actually make the skin look kind of cooler too, is have really bright glowing eyes. That way, even in situations where maybe the lighting is just not really showing off this adjustment, like we saw with Hunter's images, that would still stay true to the skin. The character model itself would still be the same, but it would ensure that they pop a little bit more in those situations where they may still be blending in. And then outside of that, as much as I would love to see them like add clothing or something to the skin just to match the hitbox sizes a little bit more and increase the actual size of the model to be more along the lines of the others in the game, that one seems a bit unlikely at this point. I don't think they're going to be making such a drastic change. And I think part of that is also due to the fact that this is a licensed operator. So I have a feeling they can't just be changing the character model itself too drastically, like without approval, for instance. Whereas with what they did with the illumination on the character, they're not actually changing the model itself, they're just changing some of the gameplay balance and how things are displayed in game. But that's where we're gonna leave it, and this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. Now that you guys have seen before and after from myself as well as Hunter TV, where his results were showing a lot less, how are you feeling about this adjustment to the T800 skin in Black Ops 6? Do you guys think this was enough of an adjustment, or do you want to see more done to this? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.